Okay, this is your test review. So, I went through and I picked out the problems that I want you to practice because they're similar to the ones on the test, and I crossed out ones that aren't like the ones on the test. So if we go down here, for example, to the circle equations, there aren't going to be any questions with the center and endpoint or the endpoints of a diameter, so you don't have to do those on the review. And I just crossed out some of these. So we're going to start with number 1. And if you want to do the problem and then see if you did it right, then do the next problem, see if you did it right. That would be a great way to do this test review. Because normally I give you the test review before the test. I want you to do it and then come into class and we do it together. So that idea, in my opinion, is a good way to study for a test. So you only have one chance on the test. So I want you to do well. And this is a way that I think you should study. So we'll get started. The first thing is this is a circle. So we need to divide this side by 8. So we get x squared plus y squared equals 9. So the center, I guess it has the blanks written down there. The center is at 0, 0, and the radius is 3. So I'm going to graph this. You don't have to graph on the test because there's not an option for that on Canvas. And I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, or as simple as possible to take the test. So there's not a graphing option, but it'll be helpful for next year if you know how to graph these. Okay, the next one, it's already in standard form, so the center is at -3, 1. The radius is 7. So -3, 1 is there, and then, well, okay, I'm not going to graph this, but it would be like 7 up, 7 down, 7 to left, 7 to the right. Okay, this one is not a circle because we're going to divide this by 36, divide this by 36, and divide this by 36. So we get x squared over 36 plus y squared over 1 equals 1. So since there's a plus sign, that means that this is an ellipse. So the center, it's just x squared and y squared. So the center is at 0, 0. So I'm going to put that here. And on this one, in order to find the vertices and covertices, you'll want to graph it or sketch it. Like, you don't have to turn in the graph, but it would be good for you to sketch it so that you know where the points are and stuff. So this is a horizontal ellipse because A is always bigger. Here A is 6 and B is 1. So the vertices are going to be over to the left and to the right 6. So for the right vertex, it's going to be 6, not -6, 6, 0, and for the left one, it'll be -6, 0. And then it's going to be up 1 and down 1 for the covertices. So the top one is 0, 1, and the bottom, this is how it's labeled on the test, just like on the quizzes, is 0, -1. So you have to put the right and the left and then the top and the bottom. Okay, and then the last part is the foci. So I'm just going to draw my ellipse. The foci, that's c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So that means that c is the square root of 35 because it's 36 minus 1, and then you take the square root. And I want you to round this to 1 decimal place. So we're going to round this to 5.9. So we're going to put this to the right and to the left, 5.9. So the right focus is at 5.90, and the left focus is at -5.90. Okay, and that's our ellipse. And you'll have to type in all of these individually. And so just make sure that you label it correctly, like you put the right one in the right one, the left one in the left one, this is X, this is Y, you know, things like that. So just make sure that they're in the right place. On this ellipse, we can tell that it's an ellipse because there's a plus sign here and it's equal to 1. So the center is at -5, 1. So that's right there. A is 81. Sorry, A is not 81. A is 9. B is 5, because those are the square roots. So this is going to be a vertical ellipse. We're going to go up 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 9. And then down 9. Those are the vertices. So the top one, that's going to be -5, 10. And the bottom vertex is -5, -8. And then B is 5, so we're going to go to the left 5 and to the right 5. So the right one is at 0, 1. The left vertex is at -10, 1. And then the foci, we have c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So that's 81 minus 25. So that's 56. So c is the square root of 56, which is approximately 7.5. So with the foci, the focus goes in between the center and the vertex. So I'm going to go up 7.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. And then down 7.5. And that's where our foci are. So the top focus is -5, 8.5. And the bottom focus is at -5, -6.5. Okay, and that's it for ellipses. Now we're moving on to hyperbolas, and we need these also to be equal to 1, so we're going to divide by 144. And I'm guessing that 144 divided by, 16 divided by 144 is 9, because that's usually how these work out, but I'm going to hurry and type it into my calculator. Okay, I'll use this one. Okay, we'll do 16 over 144, and it is 1 over 9. Okay, and then minus y squared over 16 equals 1. So the center on here is 0, 0. I'm going to actually close that. So the center is 0, 0. And then with hyperbolas, the a and b don't switch places. The x and y can switch places, but a and b don't. So this is a, which would be 3, and b is 4. So x is first, so it is a horizontal a horizontal hyperbola. So we're going to go left 3 and right 3. Those are the vertices. So we have 3, 0 and -3, 0. And then the covertices, that's up 4 and down 4. So we have 0, 4 and 0, -4. Okay, for this one we draw our box, which helps us to know where the asymptotes go. For the foci, we do c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So that's 9 plus 16, which is 25. So that means that c is 5. So we have a focus at -5 and a focus at 5. And then the asymptotes, that's these dotted lines here. And then we would draw it like this. So like I said, you don't have to draw this on your test, but it'll be helpful for next year. Asymptotes, we do y equals plus or minus, and on the test it looks like this, and then I have a fill in the blank box, and then a slash, and then a fill in the blank box, and then parentheses plus a fill in the blank box. And you have to fill in all of these blanks like this. So this is the format that it'll be on the test. So since this is a horizontal ellipse, we do b over a. So you'd put 4 over 3. And then in the parentheses, you can just put x, or you can put x minus 0, and either one will be fine. Plus 0. And you have to type in something here, because if you just leave it blank, it'll mark it wrong. So make sure to type in 0 there, because that's our k. Okay, so that's the hyperbola. We have another hyperbola here. We can tell that it's a hyperbola because it's a minus and it's equal to 1. The center is at 4, 3, because this is the x and this is the y. So even though they're switched in the coordinates for the center, it still goes x, y. And then this is a, which is 2, and this one is b, which is 6, because a and b don't switch places. The x and the y can switch places, but a and b don't. So I'm going to plot the center at 4, 3. And then the vertices, that's a. So we're going to go to the right 2 and to the left 2. And so that's at 4, 1 and 4, 5. So this is the right one, this is the left one. So if this was on the test, you type this one in where it says top or right. This one you would type it in where it says bottom or left, because it's the left one. Okay, and then we have our co-vertices. So we're going to go up 6 and down 6. Sorry, I did those wrong. I graphed them wrong. The points are right. So we go up and down 2, because it's a y is first, so it's a vertical hyperbola. So that means that the vertices have to go vertically. My mistake. So then we're going to go left 6 and right 6, like that. So the co-vertices, we have the right one. So, sorry, these should be top and bottom. So this one is the top one, and this one is bottom. There we go. Okay, now the right one is 10, 3, and the left one is -2, 3. So this is the right, and this is the left. Okay, and I'm going to draw the rectangle here. And then the foci, we have c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So c equals the square root of 40, because you add 4 plus 36, take the square root, which is 40. And this is approximately equal to 6.3. So that means we're going to go up 6.3 from the center, and then down 6.3 from the center. So our bottom focus is at 4, -3.3, and our top focus is at 4, 9.3. And then if you were to draw this, oh, my line got a little off at the beginning. So it'd be down like this. And this one would be approximately like that. And then we can draw, as that teacher calls it, the boomerangs. It'd be like this. Okay, the asymptotes, we have y equals plus or minus. This one is a over b, because it's vertical. So we have 2 over 6 times x minus 4 plus 3, because these are our center points. So this is the x coordinate of our center, and then the y coordinate of our center, which is h and k. So we could simplify this to 1/3 x minus 4 plus 3. And you don't have to multiply it out or anything. You don't have to write out the two different equations. I know that's how she has it on her key that I uploaded, but this right here is good enough. Okay, our last conic section that we learned about was parabolas. So this one, this is x squared, so we know it's going to open up or it's going to open down. This tells us that it's opening down. And the vertex is at -4, 5. And we know this is opening down. The axis of symmetry, that's going to be this line here. We learned about that with quadratics. That is x equals -4. And when you type this into the test, don't add spaces here, because the answer that I put in doesn't have spaces in between, like the x and the equal sign and the equal sign and the number. So just do x equals the number. Don't add any spaces or else it'll mark it wrong. Oops. Okay, so we have our center, we have our axis of symmetry. Now we just need our p-value. So we know that -8 equals 4p. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. So p equals -2. So we're going to go down 2. This is our focus. And then we're going to go up 2 from the vertex, and this is our directrix. So the focus is at -4, 3, and the directrix is at y equals 7. So once again, don't add spaces in between here. Just type y equals whatever the number is. In this case, it would be 7. Okay. So that's it for the parabola. On this next one, we need to have this y squared by itself. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply both sides by 20. So we get y squared equals 20 times x plus 1. So the vertex here is at -1, 0. Right there. And since it's y squared, we know it's either opening left or right. This is positive, so we know that it's opening to the right. Okay, the axis of symmetry, that is going to be here. This is the line that cuts that parabola in half. So that's y equals 0, because y equals lines are horizontal, x equals lines are vertical. Then we have to find the p-value, so we know where the focus and directrix are. So we know 20 equals 4p. If we divide by 4, we get p equals 5. So the focus is 5 to the right. The directrix is 5 to the left. So the focus is at 4, 0, and the directrix is x equals -6. So if you know how to do all of these, you'll do great on the test. this is like, this covers all of the information that you need. We're going to go through a few other types of questions, because there are other types of questions, but if you understand how to do those and where the values come from, then these ones should also be pretty easy. So number 9 says, write the equation of the circle in standard form with the given information. So on number 9, we have the center where these two lines intersect. So that would be at 3, 4. Let me make my pen a little smaller. So this is at 3, 4. And then the radius is 5. So the standard form of the equation is x minus 3 squared plus y minus 4 squared equals 25. So we do r squared, which is 5 squared, which is 25. Okay, the next one, they give you the center. So we have x plus 2 squared plus y minus 7 squared, and then 5 square root of 3 squared. You can either see this as 25 times 9, or you can just type this into the calculator. So I'm going to just pull this over here so you can see it. So we have parentheses 5 square root of 3, and then I'm going to square it. So that's 75. Oh, sorry, I did this wrong right here. The square root of 3 squared is times 3. So this is equal to 75. Okay, and that's all we're going to do for circles. So if you understand the first 2 questions about circles and these 2, you're good on circles. This one is the ellipse. So we're writing the equation in standard form. You have a question on your test where I give you a graph and you have to write the equation in standard form. So let's start off by finding the center. So I'm going to draw a line across here, and then a line down here. Oh, it's a little bit off of the line. So this right here is our center. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So the center is at 1, -6. So that tells us that we have x minus 1 squared plus y plus 6 squared equals 1. Now, this is a horizontal ellipse, so we know a is going to be here and b is going to be here. Well, a squared and b squared. So a is the longer one. That's this part. That length is 8, so 64 goes underneath here. And then this is b, and that's 4. So that means that 16 goes under here. Okay, and that's it for ellipses. So if you understood the first 2 questions on ellipses and then this one, then you're good on ellipses. Yeah. Okay, now we have the hyperbola. So we're going to find the center first. I'm going to draw a line across here and across here. So this is our center. And our center is at -2, -5. And we know that this is a vertical ellipse, or sorry, a vertical hyperbola. So we put y first. So we have y plus 5 minus x plus 2 squared. Sorry, those are both squared. And then a always goes here and b always goes here. So a in this case is this part right here, and this is 2. So 4 goes here. And then b is this part. So a is always from the center to the vertex right here. So wherever the hyperbola is opening, it's that one. So if it's a vertical hyperbola, it's going to be a vertical line. If it's the horizontal hyperbola, then it's going to be the horizontal part. So b is 3, so we put 9 underneath. And this is always equal to 1. Okay, I'm going to give you one more example for hyperbolas. And just like we did on that homework, I'm going to sketch it because it's easier to do it if you sketch it. So we have 9, 0, and then negative 7, 0. I'm going to put 9 and negative 7 here. Those are the vertices, and they're across from each other horizontally, so we know that this is going to be a horizontal hyperbola, like this. And halfway in between here is 1. So we know that the x-coordinate of the center is 1. And then the co-vertices, that's at 1, 6, and 1, negative 6. So this is at 6, this is at negative 6, and those halfway in between there is 0. So this point right here is actually our center at 0, 1. Or sorry, 1, 0. And then, so it's a horizontal hyperbola. So we have x minus 1 squared here minus y squared. And on the test, it has it in parentheses, so you can either write y minus 0 squared or you could write y squared. I've included both of those options on there as correct. Okay, now this part from the center, whoops, I didn't want to erase that. From the center to the vertex is A, which is 8. So 64 goes here. And then from the center to the co-vertex is B, and that's 6. So that would be 36. 36 here. And these are always equal to 1. And that's also part of the test. So for one of the boxes, you have to put in a 1. And that's it for hyperbolas. Okay, the last part is parabolas, and I have 4 questions on here. So 2 of these are graphs. You have to write the equation in standard form for these graphs. So the vertex, that's what we want to start out with. The vertex is right here. So that is at 7, negative 5. And then we need the p-value. That's the small distance here between the focus and the vertex, and it's 1. But for the equation, we need 4p, which is 4. So this is it's opening to the left. So that means that y goes over here. So we have y plus 5 squared equals 4 times x minus 7. But it's opening to the left, so this should be negative. And that's it for standard form. So the negative 5 here turns into a plus 5, and then the 7 is a minus 7. And then this goes here, just to make lots of confusing arrows here. Okay, the next one gives us the focus and the directrix. The vertex, they don't have it marked necessarily as a point, but you can see it. So the vertex is at negative 2, 2. I don't think I need this anymore, so I'm going to close that. And then we need the p-value, so that we could either look from here to here, or we could look from here to here. Like, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's 3. It's always going to be the same between to go from the vertex to the directrix or the vertex to the focus. It's always going to be the same. So p is 3, which means 4p is 12. So this is opening down, so that means that it's the x that's being squared, and you keep it on that side. So then we have x plus 2 squared equals 12 times y minus 2. And it's opening down, so it has to be negative. Okay, now we have a question if it gives you the vertex and a focus, and the focus, because there's only one. So the vertex is at negative 4, 2. The focus is at 2, 2. So this parabola has to open up towards the focus. So let's write down what we know. We know that it's opening to the right, so that means that the y is being squared. And then we know that x is going to be over here. So now we just need this part, the 4p part. in between here, we know that this distance is 6, because going from -4 all the way over to +2 is 6. So if P is 6, then 4P is 24. So we have 24 here. And it's positive because it's opening to the right. And this is the equation that I'll be looking for on your test. The last one is if it's given you a vertex and a directrix. So let's draw the graph of this one. So this is at 6, and then the directrix is at y equals 10. That's going to be all the way up here at 10. I missed the part that I dashed. Oh no. Okay. Okay, and this is at 10. So we know that this is going to be opening away from the directrix, just like this. So it's opening down, so x goes here, it's being squared, and then we can put y minus 0, or you could put just y. Either one is fine. So now the distance from the vertex to the directrix is 10, so 4p is 40, and it's opening down, so it should be -40. Okay, and that's it. That's the standard form, and that's what I'm looking for. So on your test, it's going to have this as a like fill in the blank box, and this one you're going to have to type in, and this you'll type in. But it has the parentheses and it has the squared, so you don't have to worry about putting like a caret or anything. So it has like parentheses, and then you type in here squared equals box, and then parentheses and another box. So I tried to make it as easy for you guys to type in the answers as possible. Okay, and then this bottom part, we didn't learn about identifying conic sections, and the other two about, I didn't want to go through another example with a focus and directrix and a vertex and a focus. So that's it. That's all you need to know for your test. And like I said, you have 1 attempt on it, and I'm giving you 3 hours. So just make sure that you have enough time when you start it. And then we have 2 lessons after that, and then you're done for the rest of the year, which is crazy. Hope you guys are doing well.